Hi, everybody. Welcome to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Anita from Ketogenic Woman. And today I have a very special guest. Her name is Renee Jones, and she has a website and a business where she helps people deal with emotional eating. So we're going to talk a lot about that today. I want to just to say how this interview or this chat we're going to do today came about is that she commented on, I think, a couple of my videos and then sent me a very nice email. I was super intrigued with her website name, which is packyourownbag.com. And so I decided, I'm going to look into this person. And I found, a TED Talk that she had done. I found that she does coaching for people with emotional eating. And I just was really intrigued. And so we decided to have a chat about this today. So thank you, Renee, for agreeing to come here and talk to me. So first of all, that's a fantastic name. It can be taken so many different ways, and that's what intrigued me about it. So maybe tell me a little bit about that, how you came to that name for your business, packyourownbag.com.
Well, thank you for having me. I think our meeting proves that it pays to be nice. Yeah?
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
So when I was ready to open my coaching practice, I was thinking about, okay, what's the issue here? And I think going through life, our bags get packed for us just from training and parents and experiences and all that. And one of the things I do is help people unpack all the baggage that they're carrying, the blocks they keep stumbling over, because, if a bag is fully packed, you can't put anything else in there. You've got to unpack what you no longer need so you can pack your own bag to move forward.
Okay. All right. I like that because it made me think of a saying that I've heard lately, that no one's coming to rescue you. And I know that is not quite what you're talking about here, but
it's still true, isn't it?
It is so true. It's up to us. If it's to be, it's up to me. And I think that, we have to make some changes in our lives, and I'm going to talk more about that in a moment. But I just wanted to give you a few minutes to also tell your background. What brought you here to this point in your life where you're helping other people deal with emotional eating. Did you yourself have difficulties with that?
Oh, yes. Anita, I spent 40 years, on the diet yo-yo. I had my first diet when I was 10, and my mother was a little concerned, but she thought, well, if she learns now, that'll set her up well. Unfortunately, she wasn't very good at it, so I wasn't very good at it, and I did the typical thing. You lose a certain amount, whatever you're going for, or when you get fed up, and then I just went back to eating the way I always had. And if I'd get upset, I'd reach for food, because that's what I was taught to do. So when I was staring down my 50th birthday, I thought, things change at 50. And if I don't lose it before I turn 50, I've got no chance after 50. And I started out on a diet for my New Year's resolution, as I had for all the previous 40 years. And I did well for about 2 weeks, and then I'd fall off. So I'd start again and just copy and print that till about April, when I went to get dressed and I pulled out a skirt and the waistband was too tight. And I thought, okay, right, we'll just do trousers. That waistband is too tight. And I thought, okay, let's go to the fat clothes. And then I realized, these are my fat clothes. So as I was wrenching the waistband together with using a safety pin to hold it, I thought, I've got to figure this out. And I ran across a term that day that I hadn't heard. But once I heard it, it was like, oh, yeah, I was an emotional eater. And that opened up a new set of research. And I found someone to help me lose my weight. And short end of that story is I did reach my goal weight the week before my 50th birthday. Nice. And I have been the same weight since October the 8th, 2012.
Wow. Okay. So this is a really good example of a success story because, and I think something that a lot of people can relate to, including myself, because I also spent 40, 50 years as a professional dieter, starting at about the age of 12 when my mother took me to my first Weight Watchers meeting. And so then what made you decide to become a coach? How did that happen?
Well, I got a master's degree in counseling in the 90s because I wanted to, whatever I was doing, I wanted to be able to help others figure out their stuff. Mm-hmm. And the profession I had chosen does a lot of counseling. So it just seemed like a good fit for me. So I was already, at the time I was a chaplain, a hospice chaplain. And of course I had the degree in counseling. So I had opened a private practice in counseling. And once I learned what to do, I thought, okay, I could build a career just on this. And it would be helpful to so many. So I just sort of shifted from counseling to coaching. And I got all the appropriate training. I am so trained, Anita. I got too many letters after my name. But I learned how to help people overcome their own emotional eating and other stumbling blocks that keep them from their goals. So it was just seemed like a natural fit to me.
Now, you found my website. So can I assume that you were kind of drawn to low carb or keto, or is that kind of where? Okay.
Well, I stumbled onto your YouTube channel first.
Yes, my YouTube channel.
Right.
Okay.
So I lost my weight on a low-fat, low-calorie diet, which worked. But I was tired, hungry, and cranky all the time because I was hungry. So about 2 years in, when I was trying to maintain, I had stopped I'm mad, sad, upset, frustrated, I'm going to eat. But I was still starving. So I thought there's got to be something better than this. So I started doing research again because I'm a researcher. And I stumbled across a way to create what I call my unique nutrition blueprint. Okay. And now I give that to all of my clients because, low carb is fantastic, doesn't work for everybody.
Right.
But it told me that I needed to eat more fat. I thought, fat? I haven't eaten fat since the 70s, So I tried the diet that it suggested. Although I looked at it and I thought, this is never going to work. Butter and cheese sauce? No.
It's very counterintuitive, isn't it?
Yes. And I thought, well, I'm at my goal weight. A week is not going to hurt me. So I tried it. And I lost 2 pounds that week. I was 52 and I lost 2 pounds in a week. And I thought, this is odd. And better than that, I wasn't tired, I wasn't hungry, and I certainly wasn't cranky. And my husband said, whatever you've been doing, let's do this. So that was basically kind of an Atkins sort of thing. And by spring of 2015, I found keto. And I landed there. I went full on into it. And I have never, ever, ever looked back. I haven't gotten off it. Traveling, holidays, I can stick to it. It makes me happy. And about 2 months in, my moods completely evened out. And I thought,
Nice.
that is odd. But it was good. So I'm all in on keto for myself. Now,
Yeah.
it doesn't work for everybody, and I get that. But I just try to help them find what works for their bodies.
I love that. I love that. Okay. So that's good. So I just wanted to say that one of the things I found on your YouTube channel, and I'm going to provide all these links below, your website and your channel and your TED Talk and all those things. You did a video. I just love this little video. So I'll link it as well, and called Cheap Knockoffs. That I really enjoyed that, and I'd like you to talk about that a little bit, because I think it's a message that people need to hear, and it's a message that I tried to share, but you shared it so succinctly and precisely. I would love for you to talk about that a little bit right now. Do you remember it? First of all, I probably shouldn't have sprung this up.
It's been a bit, but let me see if I can take a stab at it.
Okay. Yes.
There are things that people tell you will work for you, and it'll make the weight just fall right off you. If you just do this, it'll work. And that's not always true, because we're all so different chemistry-wise. I mean, our thumbprints, our irises, even our ears are just about as good as DNA for telling the difference between people. When I learned the ears, I started looking at them, and it's like, yeah, they are all different. I thought they were all the same. They're not. So if there are certain things about us that make keto fit us well, fantastic. I have a cousin who couldn't do it to save her life, because some people just need more carbs. And knowing what works for your body gives you the best opportunity to succeed happily, healthily, without being cranky.
So what I hear people ask a lot of me, and that's why I liked your video so much, was what macros should I follow? What meats should I eat? What fats should I eat? Like it's very focused on, they almost want to copy what I'm doing. Now, what I'm doing is in a different context, because I have so many food sensitivities. I have, I've lived, I'm 66, so I've lived all these years as an obese person. So I've got all the underlying issues that I'm working on. And so the macros or whatever it is I'm doing that is working for me are not going to work for another person. And I think that's hard sometimes for people to wrap their heads around. They want you to hand them a pill or a diet or a list of foods that are going to perform the magic, A week from now, you'll be down 10 pounds, guaranteed.
Please no. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're right. I mean, because of our differences, we kind of have to figure it out for ourselves. Now, I have a dog who is old, and she's losing control of her hips. And I've got 3 different medications, and I called the vet and said, okay, now how do I give these? Because it's got generalized directions. And she said, well, here's the thing. Every dog is individual. We don't know how much pain they're in. We don't know what combination will work. And it may be different day to day. So you're going to have to kind of figure out what works for her. And I thought, that is the same advice I would give to someone trying to do keto or low carb or Mediterranean or paleo or anything else. You've got to figure out what works for you. And you're the only one who can bring it in that precisely. And
Yeah.
it changes through the seasons because we do different things in the summer than we do in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, if you want an ongoing adventure, weight loss is it.
That's for sure. Because even from year to year, what worked for me in my 50s, I started keto before menopause, and I went through menopause as a low carb keto person. But after menopause, everything changed, and all of a sudden, I couldn't eat many of my favorite vegetables. Like, I just reacted to them. There were certain seasonings that kept me up all night. There was it was unbelievable how something that was working for me pre-menopause, post-menopause was a disaster. And so I had to pare things away. And
I play with this analogy because we think food ought to be different to everything else. I don't know about you, but expenses, accounting, finances, all of that can be different week to week, month to month, year to year. And we don't think anything about it.
Yeah.
Driving, I live between Dallas and Fort Worth, Texas. And when I have to drive through Dallas, it is different every stinking time. And I don't think anything about it except to figure out, okay, which has less traffic. There are just so many things in our lives that are different moment to moment, but we think food ought to be different. It ought to be consistent. It ought to be easy. And it's just not.
Let's talk about fears for a moment. Recently, I did a live stream, and the subject was, fear. What are you afraid of, basically? And it was really enlightening to me how many people commented that they really feared what was on the other side of their weight loss journey. So, to me, that is right in there with there's emotions going on there that some of us have difficulty putting our finger on. What is it? Why am I afraid to get to this weight? Why am I afraid to go on this journey or stay on it? So I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, there are a lot of women who self-protect with their size because they've had bad experiences when they were thin, assault. They were pushed aside. For a lot of business women, they want to take up more space in the corporate environment because, whatever century we're in, there are still issues around women being in the corporate environment. So they want to take up more space, more commanding with their bodies. So I can see why they would be afraid of losing what they see as an asset that is working for them in one way, but is not working for their health. Right? There's some who just don't know how to be thin. I remember I was at one of the keto festival thing, Keto Fest, that's right. And I was next to this man who was very large. I mean, 6.5 feet tall, and he was just a big, huge guy. And they took a picture of me there and then a picture with another lady. And I looked at that picture the first time and I thought, who is, oh, that's me. Wow, I look thin. Right? And I've been this size for a decade by then. But it still surprises me when I see a photo when my belly's not sticking out. Because I spent so many years like that. So I remember walking around the building during grad school. And, normally I'd sort of brace myself if the wind was blowing hard. And suddenly I was off my feet because it was blowing so hard and I didn't have the weight I once had. to hold me to the ground. It was like, I had no idea that would happen, right? So there are just so many changes, and it's mental changes that we have to make to assume I'm going to see someone who's thin. I mean, I'm not a stick insect or anything, but I'm a 62-year-old woman. This is the size I am, right? But it's just so different from when I was 22, when I was much larger, or 32, or 42. So we do have fears around how we present ourselves. You would think being thin would be the ultimate, right? But it has so many other connotations for us.
It's kind of interesting because my weight loss has been very gradual. And, last year I may have lost another 20 to 30, I think. It's very, very, very
Congratulations.
slow. Thank you. I at this point in my journey, I've lost 145 pounds and still not at my goal weight, but I'm getting there slowly but surely.
145. You've lost a person.
Yes, I have. It is a person. But what happens is I will be walking, say in a mall or something, you catch a reflection and I don't realize it's me at first sometimes. Like I feel like, oh, who's there? Oh, that's me. And so I still have a little bit of cognitive dissonance with how I think I should look when I catch a glimpse versus how I look. Yeah. And it was the opposite when I was at my heaviest, which was over 320. I would get a picture. Somebody would hand me, here's some pictures we took of the last get together. I always dreaded that. And I would be shocked at how big I looked in the picture because at that time I didn't feel that large in my mind. So I had that dissonance then, and I still have it now, just in reverse. Do you get, is that a common thing?
Oh, yeah.
Does it take time?
Yeah. It does. And I think if you take some time every day to look in the mirror and put that in your brain and say, yeah, that's me. I've done that. I've trimmed myself significantly. Problem is we stop looking at ourselves in the mirror. We just don't see ourselves. We just kind of look, okay, am I basically dressed? Yeah. Good. All right. Yeah. Or we do the makeup. So we're looking at the face and hair.
Yeah.
But we don't spend that much time actually looking at what our bodies are in either direction. Yeah. But if you begin to notice and clock that mentally and emotionally, it will seep in. And do you ever question yourself? Say, I'm still a little heavy here, or don't like the shape. Stop doing that.
Yes, right? I know.
Stop looking for the flaws all the time. And look at the difference between what it was and what it is now. I've done well here. Yes, of course, we can always do more. I can do more work on the shape of my thighs, right? I got my grandmother's legs. They're like fence posts. It's just how it is. They're sturdy. Yay. But if we actually focus on what we like rather than what we don't, it does begin to register and it feels better.
What kind of people are coming to you for help?
Frustrated dieters. People have been doing it for a while and they've done the diet yo-yo and they're just like, how does this stop? And I actually have a number of people who are 65 plus. But I also have, the 40s and the 50s, and that's great.
Yeah.
But they're frustrated. They want to figure it out. They want it to go away forever. And they want to get rid of emotional eating because that seems to be an emotion. My husband says, you're talking about stress eating. I said, stress is an emotion.
Yeah.
So how do we do that? Because if we're not eating for emotional reasons, we save ourselves a whole bunch of calories. And that can tank any diet.
And I think it's important to know that emotions, like I'm just saying from my own history, because not everybody would do this, but it didn't, if it was good news, you ate. If it was bad news, you ate.
Of
if
course.
it was, there was always a reason, good, bad, or ugly. It didn't really matter. Those emotions play into it.
This is how we are taught, Anita. When a baby cries, we put something in its mouth, whether it's the bottle or the breast or a pacifier, right? We soothe oral soothing is a thing. And when a child goes to the doctor, they give them a piece of candy.
Yeah.
In the middle of boardroom tables, there's candy because we deal with our stress by putting something in our mouths.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
So the thing is, we think that's the only way to soothe ourselves. And it's not. But it's easy and it's available. But there are other ways to do it. In fact, overcoming emotional eating is not hard. But we do have to get the hang of it. And hang is an acronym, right? H, am I actually hungry? Because if you are, you may actually need something to eat. But if you're not, we go to the A. What is the attraction to food in that moment? What's driving that? The N, what do I really need? Because you may need a break. You may need to walk off some tension. You may need to talk to a friend. You may need to play with the dog, right? Pardon me. And then the G is go. Go get that, because that will soothe you more than food ever possibly could. So if we can figure out, okay, what is it I need, and then find a way to get it, we're golden.
I love that acronym. I've never heard that before.
That's because I made it up.
There you go. So how do people find you? What do you have some kind of intake for anybody out there who might want to consider having you coach them through emotional eating? What's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Well, they can go to my website. They can send me an email to Renee at packyourownbag.com. I'm on all the socials. So find me there. Your favorite spot. Okay. I'm probably there. And yeah, I like to have a conversation with them so that I can know, what is it you actually need? And can I provide that for you?
Is there anything that you would like to cover that you think it's important for people to know that hasn't come forth in our conversation here?
Sure. No diet, no exercise routine, no magic potion can counter the effects when we've stuffed down our feelings and followed it with a food chaser. Find what works for you that is not food related, and that will help you overcome emotional eating.
Easier said than done. And so it helps to have somebody that you can talk to about it. What do you feel about having a tribe and groups, things like that? How important is it to have someone that you can talk to? Oh,
I think it's essential. I keep a coach, right? I've been doing this for years, and I keep a coach because it helps me stay sharp. I don't get overwhelmed with stuff like I once did. She always challenges me to the next level. You think you got there, and then, oh, gee, there's another level there. So I think it's important for support and for accountability. I mean, there's a there are lots of personality profiles out there, but one of the most common groups of people are those who will do anything for someone else. But when it comes to doing something for themselves, yeah, probably not going to happen. Because we need to set up external accountability. This changed my world, right? Because I found now I can do things to reach my goals because I have somebody who is asking me on a fairly regular basis, where are you? What's going on? What do we need to do to help you move to the next step?
So I think some of us might need a little more of that in our lives.
You know, that is the what makes coaching golden, because you're actually paying somebody to hold you accountable to what you say you want. And I hired one to help me get going on this. And it made all the difference in the world.
So do you have anything that you'd like to say in closing?
I have a book, if that's helpful. It's called
yes.
What's Really Eating You? Overcome the Triggers of Comfort Eating. And it's in Spanish as well as English and audiobook.
Where can we get that book?
You can get the book on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. The audiobook is available on all kinds of things, from Spotify to Audible.
Well, thank you so much, Renee, for your wisdom today. I've really enjoyed this chat with you. And I think that a lot of people who will watch this are going to also relate to the things that you've said.
Well, thanks for having me.
You are so welcome. So let's just say goodbye to everybody. Look down below for the notes and all the places where you can contact Renee. It'll all be there. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.